The feminine does not communicate through words alone. She speaks in subtleties, through the openness of her heart, the tension in her breath, a shift in her energy, a softening, a contraction. And most men, they miss it entirely. Not because they don't care, but because they've never been taught how to truly feel the feminine, how to be attuned to the feminine on an energetic level. And that disconnect is what erodes intimacy. It's why she doesn't feel safe. And it's why he feels lost, stuck in his head, wondering what went wrong. This is not just about understanding the feminine. This is about being able to meet her with a deep and powerful presence. A total different way of relating that is infinitely deeper, creates infinitely more intimacy, love, passion, and safety, and all the good things. That is ultimately magnetic. It couldn't be more magnetic. Because the man who is attuned to the feminine, the man who can truly feel her, is the man every woman deep down is waiting for. My name is Lorin, and I'm a coach, author, and hypnotherapist. I help you to understand masculine and feminine dynamics. Most men try to communicate to women through words solely. After all, that's what we've been taught. If she says something, she'll say it. But the truth is not that simple. Because the feminine communicates through subtleties. It's part of her essence. It's part of her mysticism. Her heart, her body, and her energy are always speaking, or almost always speaking louder and more clearly than the words she's saying. Now, for everyone thinking here, does this mean women don't need to learn how to communicate? The feminine can just be subtle all the time and indirect? Absolutely not. So let's make a really powerful distinction that every confusion here is cleared up and we can go right into the depth of this beautiful sacred dynamic that I'm going to get practically into deeper and deeper today. Here is the distinction. The awakened feminine invites, she does not instruct. What does this mean? Well, imagine in a relationship that a woman says to a man, right now there is a contraction inside my heart. There is tension in my breath because you have been disconnected all day. I want to feel your heart. Why don't you do a 5-minute embodiment practice where you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 6.2 seconds, and then exhale for 9.6 seconds. Do this for 10 rounds, and then you can meet my heart and we can all experience deep and divine intimacy. I on purpose exaggerated this. What I'm trying to say here is no man wants to be instructed. That's where we all get triggered. I'm not being respected. I don't want to be instructed. I know who I am and all of that. So what is it going to be? Because it can't be both. I want a woman to be deeply feminine, and at the same time, I want her to be always completely clear through her speech. But if she always were completely clear through her speech in the way we think this is supposed to be, then it would very quickly go into the realm of instructing. And that's not magnetic. That doesn't create deeper intimacy, specifically talking through the lens of sacred polarity between the masculine and the feminine. So this doesn't mean there is a bypass for women. It doesn't mean to become passive aggressive or to shut down and just say, no, everything is fine, while clearly it's not fine. That's not what it means. We have to use a grounded and spiritually wise approach to this. It's not about bypassing healthy and loving and conscious communication and being able to express your needs. That has to be a given. That has to be there in a relationship. What I'm talking about here is something deeper. And what I'm talking about is that most people actually never access this level of intimacy and depth in a relationship because they communicate solely through words. And they believe that's the only way we communicate. But the truth is, we communicate much deeper through our presence, through our body, through how we are showing up in each moment, how our energy is, our state of consciousness is in each moment. So the awakened feminine does not instruct, she invites. What is an invitation? An invitation is that she's communicating to us. She's inviting us from her heart. She's inviting us through her energy. And if a man is attuned to this, if a man can feel this and he actually makes it a conscious practice, which needs a lot of awareness and a lot of spiritual mastery and practice, a lot, to be able during the day to feel her in this way, a whole new fire is ignited in the relationship. Suddenly a level of intimacy and depth is there that was unseen, unheard of, unspoken of. No one knew it was there, and suddenly it is there. And the relationship starts to thrive. Not everyone understands they're doing this, but they're doing it. And some people have this as a conscious practice. But whether someone does it consciously, unconsciously, it doesn't matter. They're tapped into something deeper, and what they're tapped into is a deeper and more sacred way of relating. And that's what the feminine is inviting the masculine to rise into. A way of relating where our heart is more open, we are attuned to energy, where we become truly grounded and truly present. It's also creating a higher standard, because the standard is, this is not a relationship where both are totally checked out and, just watch Netflix all day or don't communicate or are disconnected. This is a relationship that calls us to a higher standard. It's a relationship where presence, working and shifting our energy from moment to moment, facing what needs to be faced and growing together, being devoted to the sacred union. That's the standard. So that standard will call the masculine to rise. And this, in its nature, can be very triggering for men. But we have to understand, if we're fully honest with ourselves, the fact that the feminine so often communicates very differently and much more subtly than the masculine is what makes her so magnetic. It's in one way what freaks men out, what gets them triggered, but at the same time, it's also what creates this incredible magnetism. We don't want to be the exact same. Difference is beautiful. And it's not very uncommon that when you have a very strong union between the masculine and the feminine, that both have almost polar opposites ways of responding to certain situations or communicating certain things. And that's what creates so much passion and heat. And yes, it can also create triggers. And that's fine. That's okay. That's allowed to be there, because we can work through that. So the first shift here, the practical shift, is for men to stop resisting the feminine subtlety, to understand and acknowledge and accept that this is actually what draws them in, what makes them feel deeply attracted to her. Let's honor it. Let's revere it. Let's stop trying to change it. And that in itself, that melting of resistance, is an immensely powerful step. Sometimes I will say to my wife, as a joke, but a joke that is rooted in reverence, I will say, you are the feminine, right? Specifically when she expresses something in a more subtle way, I will say, you are the feminine in how you express that. And it might come across as a joke, but it's a deeper form of acknowledgement that there is so much beauty, that she expressed something which was so subtle, and yet it invited me. I felt it energetically. And this is an ongoing practice for me. I'm not perfect, I'm not perfectly enlightened, but when I dropped a huge part of that resistance, it actually created deeper intimacy between me and her, instead of tension, which so many couples experience, and so many people in a relationship. Now, let's go even deeper. What does feeling her actually mean? Let's get practical. To feel the feminine is to be attuned to what's underneath the surface. Her body, her heart, her nervous system, her energy. But at the same time, it doesn't mean to become hyper-vigilant or anxious. It's not about constantly asking, is something wrong? Is something wrong? Did I do something wrong? That has nothing to do with being attuned, and everything to do with feeling insecure. I know it's hard to hear, but it's about feeling insecure. It's about fear of rejection. It's fear. It's not presence. And I don't say this in a way of being judgmental. I say it needs to be acknowledged as that and then faced as that. Feeling her means responding from grounded awareness. It means meeting her and not fixing or defending. So you feel her body and energy as you make love. You feel her as you speak with her. You feel her as you walk or sit or stand beside her in silence. And naturally, as you feel her, as you're attuned to her, body and heart, your presence and something deeper inside you will know how to respond. Let me give an example. When a woman is irritated, perhaps even angry, deeply frustrated about something that happened again, even though a promise was made, and the man feels her and meets her there, then his presence will naturally become understanding and grounded, rather than reactive, defensive, or needing to prove that he is right, she's wrong, that it was different. And that changes everything. And that creates a deeper level of safety emotionally, energetically, and physically. It's not something a man does, it is something a man becomes. She's always inviting the masculine deeper, speaking a language beyond words. And when men start to listen to that language, not with their ears, but with their heart, their presence, their whole body, that's when a level of intimacy is awakened beyond what most people believe is possible to experience in a relationship. This is like unlocking a key. And when that key is unlocked, a portal opens, a door opens inside the heart of the feminine. Not from performance or trying to get there, but from meeting her with full presence. And this is what the feminine has been craving for and waiting for, most likely all her life. Let's get even more practical. Her heart is whispering, "Can you feel me? Can you meet me here?" She doesn't say it out loud. The invitation is always there underneath her words, in her energy, in her breath, in her heart, in the way she breathes, in the way she moves, expands or contracts. So here is a practice. You first have to shift, as the masculine, you have to shift your awareness into your body. You can't be in your head or disconnected or out of your body. And then as your awareness is in your body, you're able to sense her. You're able to feel her. Now instead of analyzing it, trying to understand it, you allow your presence to respond naturally. This is what presence looks like in action. She feels vulnerable. You sense it. Your presence becomes protective. She feels tense. Your presence becomes grounding. She feels angry or annoyed at you. Your presence becomes understanding, compassionate. This is like a breath of fresh air. The key to understand here is your presence knows exactly what to do if you can feel her. And let's be honest, this is intensely vulnerable and challenging territory for most men, because to feel her, we have to feel ourselves. To be attuned to a woman, to feel a woman's heart, we have to feel our own heart, our own presence. So by nature, if we want to step into a deeper level of intimacy with a woman, we have to confront our own emotional backlog, the pain, the shame, the defensiveness, the numbness. So what is this ultimately? It's spiritual mastery. It's presence training level 100, not level 1. And it's also the ultimate path to true freedom, because a man who's trapped in his head will never be free. But a man who trusts his presence to respond in the most aligned way, being attuned to the feminine heart and energetic body, who leads from this space, who embodies this energy, becomes unstoppable. And not just that, creates a level of intimacy and depth and union the feminine has been most likely waiting for all her life. So as the masculine, the practice is During the day, can you become so conscious and so present that you can feel any shift in her? Not to be anxious and fear rejection, but to meet her with your powerful presence. And the more you practice this, the more you naturally become present and conscious throughout the day. And is becoming conscious and present throughout the day not the ultimate path to spiritual freedom? Yes, the path of higher level of union and intimacy is the same as the path of spiritual freedom and spiritual evolution. They're one and the same. This is why I'm so passionate about this work. Because I don't believe it gets more sacred than this, because it is the sacred in its highest form, in its pure embodiment. When the man does this, she feels it. She doesn't need to hear it unless your words are born from a deeper presence. That's different. Sometimes words will be there. It's not just good communication then. It's a different and deeper form of communicating in a relationship. A deeper, mystical, transcendental, sacred way of relating in a relationship. And this is only possible if both have devoted themselves not just to experience the highest level of intimacy, but to growth. If both have made the decision, I no longer want to live a life where I'm disconnected and go unconscious throughout the day. That's not my standard anymore. My standard is not that I'm unconscious all day and run away. My standard is that I become more conscious with each day that passes. This is what the feminine is inviting the masculine to rise into, and ultimately the relationship and union to rise into. Can it be more divine? Can it be more sacred? Can it be more profound than this? I would argue it cannot. This is as sacred as it can get. If this episode spoke to something deep within you, if it stirred your heart, challenged your mind, or invited you into a new level of presence, a new energetic awareness, then the best way you can support this work is by supporting the mission. I would be honored to have 10 seconds, 30 seconds of your time to rate this show 5 stars, or to give it a thumbs up if you're watching it on YouTube, or even to write a very quick review, or your experience of listening or watching the show. And of course, if you're feeling it, sharing this episode on social media. You can tag me, Lorin, and let people know what landed the most for you in this or any other episode. That's how we grow the movement. That's how we can keep offering this work freely and powerfully to so many people around the world. The podcast is growing. The message is landing at a deeper level and reaching more people. And that is thanks to you. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Thank you for taking the time to share. Thank you for the time for a thumbs up, a 5-star rating, or a review. Whatever it is, how you support it, it goes much further than you might think it does. I'm truly, truly grateful and so appreciative of you. If you want to go deeper into other free offerings, I've got 2 powerful resources. Number 1, if you haven't subscribed to it yet, my free newsletter. I share every Friday intimate teachings and other content that doesn't make it on the social media channels, that is only in the newsletter. Click on the show notes or head over to lorinkren.com/newsletter to subscribe for free. And also, I've got free ebooks, lorinkren.com/books. You can have a look at the books I've written and also my free ebooks. Thank you so much for being here. It is a true honor to be of service.